Shalom, welcome back. This will be Q&A part 3. Did some Q&A question and answers yesterday. Thank you so much for sending in so many questions. Been deluged with actually 257 more. So I don't know how it's going to go forward, but I guess we'll just do periodic Q&A videos at all times. This is from Tom and his wife Livian. Met them in New Orleans 6-7 years ago. They've stayed in touch. They asked me what one of my favorite 4-pack of DVDs is, and I'd say that's this one. Got Over the Top, and once I saw it maybe a year or two back, I don't think I'd seen it straight through since I was 6 years old. So, it brings back a lot of memories of seeing it, but also still it plays out as like perfect example of film from the 80s. It's got some real slow, focused in parts on the relationships in the movie, and then it's got just some really big over the top sequences. It could have done with maybe a little bit more, like a bigger action set piece maybe at the end even. I don't know. I just feel the movie's just incredible. But you got Stallone's name on all 4 of these movies. The Specialist, which I could see some people maybe confusing with The Assassins after a while, because they came out around the same time. A Specialist is far superior to that one. Tango and Cash, I'm not really a huge fan of. I gotta re-see it a couple more times, but on paper it's good pairing of the two, but I just don't know how it plays out as much for me. It's my personal opinion. And then Stallone and Snipes in Demolition Man. I mean, we got Nigel Hawthorne from The Madness of King George. You got the portly Bob's Big Boy guy looking from Beetlejuice in it. You got Sandra Bullock, Benjamin Bratt, some of the warden from Shawshank, Bob Gunton's in it. You got all sorts of fantastic character actors, from Bill Cobbs to Rob Schneider, even you name it, they're in this film. Highly recommend that if you haven't seen Demolition Man for whatever reason, you re-see it, and really appreciate Wesley Snipes' performance in it as well. Thank you very much for the question. This was a very pertinent question. Virginia, who lives out in Tennessee, telling me she wanted me to update some of these stalled movie projects, and she mentioned Roller Coaster Tycoon, Clue, Monopoly, and those are the 3 we'll go over for now. The Clue movie was announced through Fox a while back now, and it had writers hired from Fox, and then at Disney it didn't go through. So it's kind of a situation now where there hasn't been an update on it since May. So that's all we know, really. Who would you want to see play the main roles in Clue? Did you ever play the Clue board game? I mean, obviously Ryan Reynolds was in line for one of those roles. Professor Plum, I wouldn't want to see Michael Shannon, but it seems like he would maybe get thrown into the mix. Or someone maybe against type, maybe like a Benicio del Toro or something like that as Professor Plum. Mr. Green, maybe Paul Giamatti. I'm not a huge fan of the original Clue movie, so there's just so much that can be improved on, in my opinion. So thank you very much for those questions, and we'll go on to the next one. Which 80s or 90s commercial would you like to see made into a movie? That's a pretty cool question, and this is from Bill in San Diego. So 80s or 90s popular commercial. Well, what comes to mind to me is the Kool-Aid guy. You made the Kool-Aid guy movie, the big punch pail dude going through walls and stuff. Maybe make it similar, to hopefully be better than that Pokemon movie about how he's the last line of the Kool-Aid pitcher people, and Their whole goal is to walk into rooms correctly, and they, I don't know. But I'd like to see that done. Maybe like a team up version of Avengers between like the Honey Smacks frog, the Twix rabbit, Captain Crunch. Like a parody version of the Avengers, but with all those guys together. Maybe like a corn pop walking around. So that would be a pretty cool team up movie. And those are the 4. And then I guess maybe like a Fruit by the Foot movie about how, in fruit, tropical fruit land, there's all sorts of different, I don't know. They're making them the stupidest movies nowadays anyway. But all right, we'll go from that one. Maybe 3 more questions I can get to in this one. This is from Alan in Upland, and he asks a very cool question here. Which Star Wars character would you most like to have as your bodyguard? I'm trying to think of who does the best job as a bodyguard or as a protector in these films. Han Solo is kind of for hire, and obviously he becomes a block that needs to be undone in the 3rd one. I mean, in the 6th one, but in Return of the Jedi. What character would I want? I mean, the obvious answer would be like Boba Fett, and you hire him, but at what price can you still always trust him and everything? Lando. I would say just get Darth Maul and, sit down and have a good conversation with Darth Maul, lay out the parameters of how he's going to be the bodyguard. But if he's properly motivated or improperly motivated, he's just going to step to Darth Maul, even if he is a paper tiger, You're just not going to want to just pick a fight with him coming around a planet like that. So, I would say Darth Maul. The other ones, the Samuel L. Jackson character, not a bad guy to have just because he's political, It's going to be hard to just like, oh yeah, this character was murdered in the streets as he was protecting, Citizen X here. Everyone else, it's like you gotta be more, Boba Fett. Someone would take Boba Fett out in a New York Minute. It's about him being properly motivated and not trying to stab you in the back. So I really do like that question quite a lot. The this last question of this video, we'll do another one, is what movie did you not like when you saw in theaters in the 90s that you really do have at least an affinity for now, or that you enjoy more? Translating this is from Hebrew. It's from Yossi in Tel Aviv, a person I used to know and do a radio show with when I was there. The answer, the Executive Decision. I'm a huge fan of all the Steven Seagal movies, and when I saw it in theaters, he was barely in it, and the rest of it I thought was kind of laughable. I still do think it's kind of laughable, but if you just go on the premise that it's kind of just like Airport kind of redone, and Delta Force done without a lot of action and all that, and I could see how someone could, but in terms of the cast, you got Len Cariou, you got Kurt Russell, John Leguizamo, even though he's hard to believe as this, federal assassin type guy. There's worse movies out there, and I really didn't. When I did see it in theaters, I think I gave it an F. I guess in terms of an experience of expectations and everything, yeah. Steven Seagal dies, but he dies in a heroic manner, but still he dies like before the movie really gets going. So anyway, I hope everyone enjoyed the answers to these questions. You can go ahead and check out Executive Decision. It really does have some good aspects to it years later. Halle Berry is the guy that played Poirot on all those TV shows for the years. David Suchet, I believe his name is. Not a huge fan of him personally, but I think that did a pretty good job with this material. So this is Q&A part 3. Really enjoyed that Star Wars question. To everyone out there, who would you hire? What Star Wars character would you hire as your bodyguard? Definitely wouldn't hire Daisy Ridley. Her character. I just don't think that she. I don't know. I would rather have one of these, like Darth Maul, as my personal bodyguard. That's if I can make sure he's properly motivated, not going to sabotage me and everything. I wouldn't say that what's her name would sabotage me, but I would say that she's susceptible to outside forces and influence a little bit at this point. But we look forward to seeing what the new movie brings, and shalom to everyone. Enjoy this next Q&A video.